Over the last decade or so, I've noticed some pretty unsettling developments in our society. People who used to share neighborhoods and workplaces and dining tables can no longer talk to one another. They've become the political labels that have been assigned to them by social media, by cable news, and by political organizations. They basically have accepted the caricatures that have been painted of the other side to the point where they no longer see each other as able to communicate or understand one another. Hi, my name is Brian Kennedy. I'm the mayor of Glendale, Wisconsin, president of Democratic Municipal Officials, and a member of the DNC. Follow me for local government and Democratic Party content. It's kind of easy to understand how this happened. If you watch cable news gets its ratings from outrage. If you look at political organizations, many of them fundraise based on outrage. And the way in which they create outrage is by developing caricatures of the other side. So they have me as a liberal convinced that Republicans are terrible people, or they have conservatives convinced that liberals and Democrats are terrible people. And then you go onto social media where once you read a story or watch a video, I as a liberal says that conservatives are terrible, awful people, and I like that, or there's make a comment on it, all of a sudden it begins to feed more and more of that kind of content to me. So over time, I don't get anything that says they're normal, everyday people that just have different beliefs. I continue to get reinforced that the caricature is what the other side is. And it's dangerous. It's dangerous to a democracy. It's dangerous to have people that believe the caricature and not the reality of their neighbors, their friends, their family, their coworkers. As a mayor, I use social media a lot. It's a very effective way to reach large numbers of people with very little effort. I can communicate what's going on in city government by simply writing something up and putting it on Facebook or Nextdoor, or recording a video like this and sharing it across a bunch of different social media apps. But that doesn't make social media any less nefarious in the way in which it feeds us content that is destroying our society. I go out several times a year and knock doors in my community because I want to see people in person. I want to talk to them face to face at their front door and find out what they like about the city and what they're unhappy with. There's no more effective way than talking to people in person. Yes, they can make comments on social media, but often people don't really convey how they feel on social media. It comes across because the language, there's not a person there. You can't read the body language. You're reading the words they put. And sometimes people take offense at things that get written on social media when you have that person explain to you face to face what they're saying, suddenly it's not offensive anymore. And so I'm going to spend the next week or so talking about a number of ways that we can get out of our homes, off of our phones, and start communicating with our neighbors, with our coworkers, with people face to face in ways that no longer stoke the outrage. How do we find common ground? How do we really create community again? I believe that democracy is the best form of government there is, and we're losing it right now the longer that we continue to remain divided. So I'm going to talk with you about how we rebuild democracy by working to rebuild our communities. I have a hint for you here. It doesn't come from the top. It doesn't come from Washington. It comes from people talking to their neighbors. It comes from PTO meetings and city councils and community centers and neighborhood groups where people actually build relationships in person.